Welcome to Am I the A-hole, where OP kicks out his parents from his home and cut ties with them because they bully his daughter. I, 35-year-old male, had my parents, both in their 60s, over for dinner this weekend. After dinner, my daughter, Emma, 10F, asked if she could play us a song she had been practicing on her keyboard. She gets lessons. It wasn't perfect, few missed notes, a couple pauses, but she did really well. She looked up at the end, massive smile, and I started clapping and my parents started laughing, not just a little chuckle, a massive effing belly laugh. And then, still laughing, my mum asked if it was her first time playing it. My daughter shrunk on the spot, and she looked down and said, "No, I've had 2 lessons, but doing it with 2 hands is hard." And they just laughed even effing harder. I just stood up, took their glasses and said, "Leave." My mum tried to say that they hadn't finished their drinks, and that they wanted to hear another song, etc. But I said, "No need to finish the drinks, just get out of my home, you misanthrope." My mom said that I was being impulsive, and that she didn't meant to mock my daughter. Rather, she was preparing my daughter for real world. I was very angry. I wanted to literally kick them out of my home, but I controlled myself. I said, "It's not teaching the real world, they're just nasty little bullies picking on children." I told them that I didn't need them to prepare my daughter for the real world. I would do it on my own. I told them to leave my home, or else I would have to resort to an alternative. Finally, the bullies gathered their stuff and left. After they left, I sat with my daughter and explained how proud I was of her, how well she was doing, and asked her to ignore them because they were just being cruel. Then, I asked my daughter if she could please play it again, which she did. On the weekend, I messaged my father and told him that until they can behave like decent human beings, they don't need to come to my home. My father replied that it was my choice, but he had not raised me to behave this way with my parents. I told him that I don't care how he raised me and what he thinks of me. I just don't want to see him and his wife at my home anymore. In the evening, I got a call from my sister, the golden child of my parents. With my parents' version of events in the head, she said that I was a nasty piece of work and should never speak to my parents that way, that I'm wrapping my child in cotton wool and blah blah blah. I just told her to go to hell and hung up. I'm not asking if I'm in the wrong for standing up for my daughter, and I never doubted I was in the right for standing up for my daughter. I was right, and I'll always stand for my daughter no matter who the hell I am facing. My daughter is the most important person in my life. The purpose of writing this story on Reddit is to ask whether I went too far, because I raised my voice at the end when I said, "Leave." So, am I the AH? OP is not an AH. OP was right to stand up for his daughter and defend her against the spurious ridicule from his parents. Emma felt proud of her performance, and instead of encouragement, OP's parents ridiculed her. OP's mom can claim that it's a hardening test for her in the real world, but in truth, there is no necessity to completely knock down a child's confidence in such a rough way. Kids learn with encouragement, not with criticism and anger. Yelling may be an impulsive response, but that doesn't make OP an AH, so I would give OP 0 out of 5 on the AH scale. As for OP's parents, they are AH, and I would rate them 3.5 out of 5 on the AH scale. Let's now move on to another Am I the AH, where OP asks whether she would be an AH if she kicks out my 55-year-old brother who can't take care of himself. My 57-year-old female's younger brother, Dave, 55-year-old male, has always struggled to maintain any sort of independence. He's never held down a job for more than a year, and every apartment he's had has turned into a disaster. He has spent most of his adult life either with me, our elderly parents, or couch surfing between friends. At the moment, he is back on my couch, but I am at my end. Some background context. Dave has spent most of his adult life in and out of work. He is phenomenally intelligent, eloquent, and, when he chooses to be, witty. He just cannot retain a job or care for himself. He becomes overwhelmed, quits, and spirals into a depressive episode. Then, he comes knocking on either my door or that of our parents asking for help. The last time he lived with our parents, he basically became their live-in caretaker, though that didn't exactly work out as planned. My mom is 89F and dad 93M, so they're not the easiest to live with. They bicker incessantly, and arguments can be pretty lively. In time, Dave began to snark back at them. One night, Things got heated enough for the neighbors to call the cops because they thought it was going to get physical. It wasn't, thankfully. After that, we made a plan that I would help my brother be independent. I asked him to move away from our parents and find a job and rent an apartment for him. Initially, he was hesitant, but agreed finally. I supported him financially for the movers, paid for his first few months of rent, and helped get him set up with a part-time job he could work remotely. But 6 months later, he quit the job and therefore stopped paying rent. He claimed it was too stressful. He couldn't cope with the workload. He spiraled again, drinking and sleeping all day and ignoring any kind of help. His lease ran out, and without warning, he showed up at my door, expecting to crash on my couch just for a couple of weeks. My husband was not ready to take him in, but I got him agreed, telling him that it would be temporary, but it is not. My brother has been living with us almost for a year and contributes nothing towards the household. I have tried everything, from helping him search for a new job, therapy, to giving him a timeline to find a place. He dismissed every attempt to kick him into independence. Every word is a repeat of, "I am trying," or "What do you want me to do? I have no money." It's like talking into a wall. Things became complicated lately when our 32M son came home after his breakup. He's having a difficult time and needs us for support. That's why I want to be there for him. Unfortunately, the presence of Dave is making things worse. The man is trying to rebuild his life, but with his chaotic uncle around him, it is quite hard. I raise the concern to Dave, and his reply always goes like this: "Where else am I supposed to go? I have nothing." Not that he is wrong. He has neither a job nor any savings or reasonable prospects for that matter. As much as he wishes to get back to our parents' home, they are fighting merely to stay afloat. They neither have the space nor the might in their minds to keep him there either. Now I am totally tired and seriously considering kicking him out to the streets or having to sleep in his car, but I am confused. So, would I be an AH for kicking out my brother? OP would not be the AH for throwing her brother out. Of course, she loves him dearly and has done everything in her power to help him, but Dave has continually refused to get his life together. Throwing her brother out is the only solution she has got right now. What do the Mac Reddit fans think? Would OP be an AH or not? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like the stories I brought you, just hit the like button, share them as much as you can, and don't forget to subscribe to Mac Reddit for a daily dose. Bye bye, see you tomorrow with some more spicy fries.